Before the war on Iran broke out, there were mounting concerns about private credit and that defaults there could have bigger ripple effects across the financial markets. Joining us now in a First on CNBC interview is JPMorgan Chair and CEO Jamie Dimon with our very own Leslie Picker from JPMorgan's Global Leveraged Finance Conference in Miami Beach. Leslie, over to you.
Kelly, thank you so much. And thank you, Jamie, for taking the time to sit down with us. And it was a very important day. Everyone's trying to make some sense of the news over the weekend. And you've long said that the markets have underappreciated the, quote, complex geopolitical conditions. What do you make of the latest developments with Iran and the market's reaction today?
First of all, hi. Hello, CNBC. Hello, Kelly. The first thing I want to say is that my heart goes out and we're praying for all our soldiers and sailors overseas and our employees. We obviously have employees in a lot of those cities. That's the most important thing. The second thing is the hope that this might lead to a long, just peace in the Middle East. I think the odds of that are higher. Tom Friedman wrote a great op-ed today. While there's risk associated with this, it's very hard to predict the ultimate outcomes. Maybe it will be a catalyst to get that done. And obviously, the sooner, the better. So, and you see what's doing in the markets, not dramatic. Economic, the economy is not often driven by something like that unless it's prolonged.
What about inflation? As people kind of think about the potential ripple effects of higher oil prices, for example, obviously today's move is just one day. Do you see a risk that this could lead to sustained inflation over the long run?
I don't think this thing in an isolated way will. I think there's some risk there's more inflation than people think, and that could be like a skunk in a party if that ever happens. Hopefully it doesn't happen, and no one actually knows. But this right now will increase gas prices a little bit. And again, if it's not prolonged, there's not going to be a major inflationary hit. Again, if it went on for a long time, that would be different.
Another concern that I've seen mentioned out there is the risk of retaliatory cyber attacks, banks being a potential target there. How concerned are you about that? I know that's something that you mentioned in your letter about a year ago.
I think the most important thing is that we keep the Western world free and safe for democracy. And people like this have gotten away literally with murder for 50 years. So that's far more important. But, as a corollary to that, you got to expect there'll be cyber attacks or terrorist attacks either here or around the world. Banks may be targets, so may, plenty of other people. And we always try to be prepared for that. We never try to predict when, why, where. We spend a lot of money protecting ourselves for cyber. We think it's part of our job. But I've always said I would consider that one of the highest risk banks bear. Not just the cycle, cyber.
Yes, I remember that from your letter last year. And of course, we are here at the Leveraged Finance Conference. It's the 31st annual event. So let's dig into your view on credit. Broadly, last week you said at JPMorgan's investor update that the environment reminds you of 05, 06, 07, that people are leveraging to the hill, and you see some dumb things out there happening. Where specifically are those dumb things happening?
Let me give you a better perspective. Individuals in very good shape, debt to service ratios, corporations in good shape, government is not. Governments around the world, including the United States government, have far more debt than they've ever had before. We're going to have a cycle one day. I think when we have the cycle, and it may be driven by geopolitics, it may not. Those geopolitical things are kind of longer tail items, and there are a lot of short-term good items. I think the one big beautiful bill will help drive growth. I think deregulation of banks and other companies can help drive kind of growth. Still looking at that party may be inflation. So credit will have a normal cycle. I believe that it'll be worse than a normal one when it happens. So there will be one, and that's because of complacency. Asset prices are very high, credit spreads are very low. I don't think a lot of people have seen a credit cycle. Not everyone who makes loans is very good at it. So those bad actors may be banks, not private credit. It's just across the board. And we've seen, issues. I wouldn't call them major issues. I wouldn't call them systemic issues, but issues of bad underwriting. And some more fraud than there should be and things like that. So, I'm concerned about it, but we're prepared for it. We always prepare for all these outcomes. We'll see. And then we obviously underwrite credit and compete. So we see people, we do that, sometimes doing things that we would never do. That's what I'm referring to. That's not private credit. That's other people providing credit who we think are just going a bridge too far.